Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I've got a product to show you today, and it's not a drone. I do put some occasional tech products up on my channel, and this is one of them. This company, LOKITHOR, approached me and asked me if I would do a review of their product. Now, this is one of those battery-based electronic jump starter kits, but it's much more than that. It's also an entire inflator and a power bank, plus it has a light on it as well. So something handy to carry in the car and can cover you for a number of different issues. So let's quit messing around. Let's get this thing out of the box and take a look at it. Oh, I should add, how does this relate to drones? Well, for me, having it in the car to be able to charge a drone battery off of the power bank, there's a good idea. Okay, let's take a look at what comes in the box with the LOKITHOR ApartX, it says on the manual here. So I tipped this up so you can kind of see the dashboard, the front of the unit itself. But let's quickly take a look at the accessories. You get a storage bag to store it in, so, you know, handy for when you're keeping it in your car. And then you get the jump starter clips, and then this, of course, clips into the unit itself, the other end here, so you can jump start if necessary. And then it gives you an air hose that screws into the side. I don't know if you can see the threads there, but that screws into the side of the unit. And it's got a locking air hose chuck here. So you just put that over the Schrader valve and push down, and that locks in place. And then it has a bag for those accessories, which is handy. So you have some different kind of inflators. You know, I don't know if you'll use those, but they're there if you need them. USB-C to USB-C cable and USB-A to USB-C, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. And of course you have documentation. So now let's take a closer look at the unit itself and see what it can do. Okay, here's the LOKITHOR ApartX, and probably the first thing we should look at is the front of the unit. And the operation couldn't be simpler. I will say they do give you a good manual. The manual itself was very easy to read and easy to understand and good size, so just wanted to point that out. But you got an on-off button, of course. Let's just turn that on, and you can see everything lights up there. And it's set for inflation right now, inflating a tire, etc. We'll look more at that later. But if you look at the buttons here, you can change it. It's on PSI now, but you can change it to bar, to KPA, and of course PSI is what we would use. And you saw it was set on 12 there. But we'll, again, more about that later. So let's take a look at the ports on the front. So this is the port where you're going to plug in the jump starter. So you got your cables right here, and yeah, they're only going to fit one way. In other words, you see that flat part on there? That lines up with the flat part, and boom, plug that in, and there you go. So in other words, you couldn't plug this in incorrectly because of the flat part on the bottom with this. It's going to keep the positive and negative correct. Then the next port over is your USB port. So you have a USB-A and a USB-C port, and as you recall, it gave us a couple of different cables came in the accessory pack. Now, you charge via the USB-C port here. So you're probably going to want to use as fast a charger as you can. I would use the cable that came with the product, and you're going to get it charged up pretty quick. So what I'll tell you is, if you try and use just one of those tiny little cubes that are common with cell phones, yeah, it's not going to charge it very fast. So you're going to want to put, I would say, you know, I was looking in the manual. It doesn't say, but I would probably use a 60 watt or better charger. I have a 100 watt charge block that I use for my drones, so that is how I would charge this guy up. And then the USB-A is out, so in fact both of these are outputs, and I tested that. I looked in the manual. It did not say whether, it just talked about the USB-C as an input, but it is definitely an output as well because I checked it. And of course the USB-A is an output too. Okay, we're getting interesting here. So this is where you plug in the air chuck when you're airing up a tire. Let me see if I can do that one-handed here. So you got the end of the air hose here. You're just going to screw it in place right there, and boom, there you go. Then you're ready to go. Hey, okay, so I'm out in the garage, and I purposely let some air out of the tire on my vehicle. I'm supposed to have 36 pounds, and I let it down to 29 pounds. We're going to take a look at how easy it is to use the air inflator on the LOKITHOR ApartX. So I hit the power button, and you'll see we're down to, I told you 29 pounds, but I actually have it down to, I guess, 31 pounds PSI. It'll tell you what the current air pressure is in the tire. And then you hit the plus button here to set it where you want. I want it at 36 PSI, so I set that right there. And by the way, I think I showed you this earlier. You can change from bar, KPA to PSI with that little switch right there. But let's go ahead and hold down the pump button and see how long it takes to pump this tire up. So I did a rough timing on my watch. That took about a minute and a half to take it from 31 pounds to 36. There are 3 different batteries that are available for this. Let me pull this out to just show you how that works. So you just pull up on the handle, and it pulls straight out, and I don't know if you can see all the way down in there, but you can see it's got a couple of connections down there. And I don't know, let me just show you the battery here. So those are the connections on the end of the battery. And this is the smallest battery they have. It's a 1500 amp, well, excuse me, a 12,000 milliamp hour battery. Then to reinstall it, you just slide it back in, and you push it all the way until you hear the click, hear that snap. And in order to take it back out again, you pull up on the handle. I just talked to you a little bit about the batteries, and I was looking up in the manual to see what they were, but I noticed then that it's right here on top. So the one that I have is the 1500 amp, and then they've got a LIFE, which is the iron phosphate, lithium iron phosphate. So that's a little more powerful at 2000 amps. And then a LiPo-X, which I'm not sure what that X stands for, but that's even more powerful at 2000 amps. And let's see, we can talk about milliamp hours too. Let me look that up real quick. The LiPo one is, as I said earlier, is 12,000 milliamp hours. The next one, the lithium iron phosphate, is 23,000 milliamp hours. And the one at the top there, the LiPox, and I wish I knew exactly what that was. Ox, obviously some kind of oxidation, I would presume, is a 26,500 milliamp hour battery. So just a couple of vent holes on the other side, on the back side, I guess you'd call it. And then on the other end here is the light. We'll look at that in a second. That's plenty bright. And in fact, matter of fact, we can look at that right now. There's a switch right here that says light, right? Easy enough. Yeah, that's pretty bright. You press it again, and we should get, oh, that turned it off. I must have needed to do a short press. So let's do a long press again, and then a short press, and it'll blink. Short press again, and a different kind of blink. And yeah, one more press and turns it off. And then I figured out there just then a long press will shut it off as well. Looking at the front here, this bar at the top here is the state of charge on the battery, the internal battery, and it's got 3 bars, so it's 3/4 charged right now. So when you're in start mode, you see these 2 bars up here. The top one will light up red if you have something hooked up incorrectly or it's not ready. The next one will go green when it's ready to charge or ready to jump start. The unit does have protection circuitry in there, like I said, so that you can't hook something up backwards, and it will then, if you created that kind of problem, it would disconnect the circuit. So let me show you what I'm going to be using this for a lot out in the field, and that is charging batteries. And in this case, I've got the battery hub for my DJI Mini 4 Pro. So I'm going USB-C to USB-C on the other end here. Plug that right into the side. And of course I need to turn on the unit itself, power button. And you can see it's starting to charge there, and it even tells us the watts that it's charging at. So it's charging at 25 watts, 26. Looks like we're going to get to 30. Let's see how high that'll go. 35. Yeah, it looks like it's going to charge at about 35 watts. So that should charge these batteries up for the Mini 4 Pro pretty quickly. So this will be handy to have out in the field for that very reason. So this is a handy device, and I'm glad to have it. The LOKITHOR ApartX combination jump starter, tire inflator, emergency light, and power bank all in one. I'm going to use this guy to be charging a few drone batteries when I'm on the road, I can tell you that. So anyway, that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Pretty handy little product here. See ya.